Oops. Steady does it. Okay, alright, first, obligatory promote the Indiegogo campaign section. Check out the links below for our Indiegogo campaign on our next movie, which is another Cinema Snob movie. Click on that, get all the information there. We passed 10,000 earlier, so that's really cool. So anyway, find out all the information there and different videos that we've been doing on our YouTube channel to talk about it more. I didn't know I was gonna be at this movie until like last night. We spent the weekend in Chicago, and this Tuesday, we ended up getting back last night, Monday night, and I was just messing around online and was like, was there anything that opened like this weekend that I forgot about? So I just kind of randomly went like, all right, what's playing on Tuesday? Did some like indie movie come here when we were gone? And it was like the first Purge preview screenings tonight. I'm like, oh, well, I guess I will be at the movies tomorrow. So I text Sarah and I'm like, last minute, are you doing anything tomorrow? Apparently the first Purge comes out. She writes back like, oh, we're heading out of town for 4th of July, so she and Dave were out. Brian and I think are seeing Ant-Man on Thursday. Irving's doing some holiday stuff, and I originally thought you were going to be hanging out with your mom tonight, so I was like, well, I think I might be flying solo for this movie, and your mom was just hanging back at the hotel, so you're like, I'll go see this movie even though I haven't seen the other three. And I'm like, actually, well, that kind of works out. This is a prequel film with a confusing ass title called The First Purge. That's going to be confusing for anyone who says that in the future. Like, what do you mean, the prequel movie or the Ethan Hawke movie? Like, God, why did they who's on first this fucking movie series?
Yeah, I was gonna maybe hang out with my mom, but we did a bunch of touristy things today because, you know, Lincoln stuff is everywhere. Yeah. And so I'm pretty wiped. I think we're all kind of wiped. Yeah. So we were just, I was like, you know, it's okay. You guys can, because they were like, we're going to rest. And I was like, no, it's totally fine. I understand.
And I was like,
and I was tired too.
I was like, don't worry, this movie can't be over 90 minutes. And it's really not. Like, it's not that long of a movie. I don't know how long it is, but it's not that long.
Well, it's only 9 o'clock and
so it's probably like an hour 40 or around there, given the trailers before the movie. So I guess before I get into any of this, because I've seen the other three, you haven't seen the other three movies. You went into this one, and it is a prequel movie, as the title suggests. It's taking place during the very first Purge. So what did you think of this?
I didn't care too much for it. I hear the first one's not very good. And I always kind of thought they looked dumb. But you say you like them, and so maybe I'm just judging it too quickly, but
then you saw this movie.
Yeah, so, yeah, it was kind of messy for a movie. There was like 4 different plots going on.
Yeah.
There's like the gangs, and then there's like a conspiracy, and then there's the subplot with Skeletor, and then he pops up again.
I'm gonna purge you, He-Man! Yeah, this movie goes off the rails.
And then it turns into like this military conspiracy thing, and it's just like several different plots that happen. I guess.
Right. The first movie I was kind of hard on when it came out, and I almost want to see it again, because one of the reasons why I was hard on the first film was like, you have a really good backstory here for something that's nothing more than a home invasion movie. And now that they've done several movies that really do expand on this lore, this plot line and everything, I'm like, maybe I should go back and watch the first movie again. Maybe I'll enjoy it a little bit better. But I love the second movie. The second movie's fucking great. Third movie's a lot of fun too. This one, it's not very good.
Yeah.
Even what I remember about the first one is a lot better than what they do in this movie. This is a prequel, and it's talking about how they set up this experiment where in this film, it's all really just taking place on Staten Island with, I think, maybe some other parts of the country, but it's not nationwide. And what they're doing is that they're paying people to purge, and they're putting contact lenses in them so they can monitor it and see...
Like, it's also an incentive for people to stay and not leave.
They're giving people incentive to stay. And so a lot of them do, and a lot of them are just kind of partying at first, a bit, here and there. Like, the government guy is saying, like, they're not purging as much as they want. But meanwhile, they kind of are. Like, there is still a lot of mayhem going on. Yeah. Like, there's fucking rape chuds in the sewer, and there's this fucking maniac. I'll get to this fucking guy in a second, but, like, there's this slasher movie villain going around. Anyway, so the other movies, they get into, like, all the government conspiracies like this movie is. They really already tell us everything that this movie's telling us, other than, like, to my knowledge, the other movies didn't get into, like, okay, at first it was really just on Staten Island and people were being paid to be there. I don't remember them really getting into that in the other movies, but so...
Does the military get involved?
No, yeah. Okay. All of that. All the stuff about it's a government conspiracy to target people in low-income housing and get rid of the homeless and target minorities and things like that. All of that's in the other movies.
So this isn't doing anything new?
No, particularly the second one and the third one. It really does get into that, and in a much smarter way than this movie is. This movie it's a prequel that tells me really everything I already know about this universe. And what I didn't know, like, so what? Like, who cares, really? Like, I don't know, there's just things that don't work about the movie. One, I was tired when I was watching this, and this is the kind of movie that should keep me awake. Like, this is the kind of movie that should, like, give me a nice little, like, adrenaline jolt of action movie exploitation.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. And part of the reason why it doesn't is the strength of the other movies, or one of them at least, was in the lead characters. Like, of all the problems I had with the first one, I did give a shit about Ethan Hawke and Lena Headey. The second one, Frank Grillo, absolutely was badass in that movie. Like, so much so they brought him back for the third movie. I gave a shit about people in those other movies. This one, there's really no one to carry this film.
Yeah, the relationship between the siblings, I guess. And then it's later revealed that the main female character is also used to date the lead.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of alluded to that at the beginning of the movie, but there is one guy, the Dimitri, I think was his name, who was like the head of the gang, and he is the most interesting character in this, but he's not carrying it because it doesn't focus as much. I guess if there is anyone in this movie who is arguably sort of a lead, I guess it would be him, but
there's like 3 main characters.
The other movies do it too, where, like, okay, yeah, Frank Grillo is like the lead in Purge Anarchy, but there's a lot of other stories going on as well. The third one does that too, but they're way more interesting in everything than this. They have more focus than this does. Like, you have, like, Frank Grillo's storyline and then some other storylines, and eventually they merge and they come together, and they are entertaining, and at least there's Frank Grillo there to carry all that through. And the storylines were just way more interesting. In this, it's just a mess of a bunch of random things happening, and no one's really pulling you into it.
Yeah. I was kind of interested to see what they were going to do with that Skeletor guy, because he was kind of intimidating.
Which guy was the Skeletor guy?
The guy from the very beginning when he's like, I just need a purge.
Oh, okay, that was his name.
I think that was his name.
Yeah, you're right.
That was, because he was intimidating, and I was like, kind of, you didn't think so? You thought he was funny?
That guy, was the mixture of a hyena and one of the rage zombies from 28 Days Later. Like, I don't know whether to laugh or respect how insanely over the top that guy went in this.
Yeah, he does give it his all, and I thought that was kind of...
I can't do it. If I try even doing a fraction of an impression of this guy, my eyes will explode out of my head and my teeth will just retract into my gums. This is the guy who, he's in the first scene of the movie where they're like, "Do you want to purge, sir?" And he's like, and his gums are bleeding. Why? I don't know. They just are.
It makes him look crazy.
This guy just goes into a rave at one point and just starts slashing people left and right.
Yeah,
which...
he just looks at it like a buffet. He's just like...
He's like the villain in...
Like, the first act, I guess, and then he just disappears. And then I thought he was gonna be in it way more, and then he just disappears, and then it turns into this gang rivalry, and then it turns into this military conspiracy, government conspiracy thing with the military now coming in, and it's just like, oh, I guess that character disappeared.
When this guy was slashing people at the rave, he was like, I've seen this kind of slasher movie villain in the 80s. It was in Student Bodies, and that was a parody film. Like, yes, like, that was this fucking guy, and I'm like, well, you know, I mean, this rave was gonna go south anyway. This is a rave during the Purge. This is gonna turn into Rapeville, USA in any fucking minute.
Yeah. Did they do the whole contact thing with in the other one?
Characters weren't walking around looking like Riddick in the other movies. Like, I don't know. Like, the movie's also not very well made.
I thought it looked kind of cheap. There was one part when they just start like stabbing people and the blood was like super red and CGI looking.
Oh, yeah, there's that, but also like there's some action scenes where I'm like, I can't tell what's going on because, sorry, there's a guy fucking a car over there. It is the Purge. If you can't hear the fireworks in the background, makes sense we're reviewing this now. So there's like a lot of the action scenes were kind of hard to tell what was fucking going on. One of them just has a bunch of flashing.
Yeah, that was hurting my eyes.
Yeah, that was like killing my fucking eyes.
And it was lasting for about 15 minutes too.
There's one fight on a stairwell that's brief, but it was kind of well shot.
It was a really good choreographed.
Yeah, that was like the one scene where it was like, okay, I think the choreography
turned into Atomic Blonde for a second.
For like 5 seconds. I'm like, okay, I can at least tell what's going on in this scene. Yeah. Other times, there's like unnecessary slow motion, and there is one shot in this movie with Marissa Tomei and the government guy at the beginning of the film when there's all the protests going on about the pro-Purge people and the anti-Purge people, and then like all those people are on location. And like Van Jones is interviewing them, and then it cuts to an interview with Marissa Tomei and the other guy who are also supposed to be on location, even though these two actors clearly are not. They are clearly green screened with these protesters going on in the background. Like, so well, somebody was only on set for a few days. So it's not, the other movies are far more well made than this one is. They're far more entertaining.
Were the deaths more entertaining? Because I felt like everything in this wasn't, like, they were just shooting each other and slashing each other, whereas in the trailers I remember for like the second or the third one, they have like a guillotine and all this crap.
That's like, either the second or third one, yeah.
Whereas this one, they were just shooting, but I guess it's the first Purge, so maybe people were just kind of...
The other movies were also just better at commentary than this film is. This movie, yeah, it does try to insert, like, political commentary in the film, but in a way that is just as unsubtle as that crackhead rabid dog villain in this. Like, okay, so it's the president of the movie is like the first of this new political party, which is the Founding Fathers, or the new Founding Fathers, and they're referenced in the other movies as well. And he's very much supposed to be like Trump in the film, down to like he even has like kind of a catchphrase that's sort of similar to Trump's. But then even beyond that, like it's just sprinkling all these really obvious references throughout the movie, like when the rape chud like is like grabbing at the girl's crotch, and she gets
like pussy grabbing motherfucker.
Yeah, she calls him a pussy grabber. There's a group of like tiki torch alt-right guys who shoot up a church. There's Klansmen who are going around with AKs.
Did they have
just
Klansmen
shoot.
in the other ones?
If they did, I don't remember. But also like there's like a Gestapo guy who's a villain who shows up to shoot up the building at the end, and there's
evil business looking man.
Yeah, who's straight up dressed like he's out of a Nazi exploitation movie. There's even a part where they pick up the headset that the like mercenary guys are talking with, and the one guy goes like, they're speaking Russian. I'm like, okay guys, look,
something weird's going on. They're speaking Russian. Yeah, that was...
the other movies
I guess I appreciate that.
The other movies were just... This is like, guys, just try to be a little more subtle. Will you? Like, one of the posters for the movie is like a Make America Great Again hat. Like, okay, if you're gonna... The other movies, and a lot of great exploitation movies do insert like social and political commentary in them. The other Purge movies do too, about like income classes and all that, and poverty. This one is just, it's as subtle as like a college script. Like someone who's a first year screenwriting student wherever just saying like, I'm gonna make my attempt at a Purge movie, and it's as subtle as a blowtorch to the fucking face. Like, guys, come on. All right. I was getting some laughs out of that, certainly.
Yeah.
This isn't a very good movie. It's sort of like this movie, it's trying to be way smarter than it is.
Yeah, it was. But I don't have anything to compare it to with the other movies.
Sure,
so, I mean, to me, I'm like, I guess they probably do this in the other ones, so you probably... I still didn't like it, but you probably, since you have something to compare it to, you probably were like, guys, subtle, like...
I realize that this it has never been a series built on subtlety, but just some aspects of it were just done way better than this film, and were just a little more clever, and at least had characters that you could go along for the ride with, even villains too, that you could go along for the ride in these movies. They're like throwbacks to stuff like Purge Anarchy and Purge Election Year. They're throwbacks to, like, you know, canon films or stuff like The Warriors or Tenement and movies like that. This is just not that interesting. It's like, I've seen this. This is the fourth time I've seen this now, two of which are pretty damn good. The first one, not, but in retrospect, I'm like, okay, I'm respecting a lot more out of the first one, especially after seeing this movie. It's just... I
was pretty bored. I was already tired before.
Yeah.
So I was just like...
Did it not make you want to see the other movies?
I'm interested, but...
You would really, at the least, you would really like Anarchy. Like, Anarchy that's the second one, and it's really fucking good. But I mean, you know, I'm not saying I wouldn't want to see, like, more of this, just make a better movie than this one. It's like when I saw the first one, it was like, there are seeds here for something pretty damn cool, and then we got Anarchy. Maybe something interesting can come out of this. I think they're doing a TV show based on it.
Let's make it look even more cheap.
Okay, well, I just paid top dollar to go see a backdoor pilot. I didn't pay top dollar for this. I used my AMC A-list thing and my movie pass. I didn't pay shit to go see this. I don't recommend this. Like, if you want to...
Maybe like a rent.
Yeah, if you want to rent it, all right, fine. There's better Purge movies you could be watching. It's not a terrible movie. It's just not an interesting one. And I wasn't really all that entertained in the movie. But if you want to rent it, all right, fine,
Hang out
sure.
with your friends or something, you know, go to Redbox. Yeah.
Any other thoughts about this movie?
No, I'm just getting hot.
I as well am getting hot thinking about this film. I mean, I never said it wasn't sexy. All right, well, there's Ant-Man and the Wasp coming up on Thursday. I'm not sure what else comes out, if anything else comes out, but all right, guys, I'll see you then.
See ya.
Bye.